Safe to say Najee Harris will not be watching the box office hit starring Brad Pitt called Troy.
Is it 2009? Because the Chargers have a stranglehold on the AFC West.
It's good!
Hold up. It's the Chargers squad. Everything Los Angeles Chargers every week. Covering all the big hits and game-changing plays from the City of Angels. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Get ready and squad up. It's the Chargers Squad Show, starting now.
Well, here we are, 3-0. It's the Locked On Chargers Squad Show on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel. Pete Fox covering sports in LA dating back to 2007 for ESPN LA and NBC Sports Radio. Kenyon Barner, 10 years in the league, 3 rings, and David Drogemeyer, half of the Locked On Chargers Daily podcast right here on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel. And we are all thrilled and stoked, and we've gotten all of the excited cussing out of the way, especially David is just on one right now. And we are ready to get into this 23-20 walk-off win for the Chargers. These numbers I hear about Dicker the kicker are phenomenal and mind-boggling, and every time they start talking about those numbers, I'm like, shut up. We don't want to hear those numbers, especially not right now. With 90+% in that scenario late in the game, I'm just like, wow, it is unbelievable what he can do. But for me, the thing I walk away from in this game, other than a win and 3-0 in the division, is the precision of that final drive. It was clinical. It was Chiefs-like. And I wasn't surprised at all. That's exactly what I thought they were going to bring and march down the field and set up the walk-off field goal as they did. Kenyon, how are you feeling about this win right now? Does this surprise you in the least bit?
It doesn't surprise me, even though, I mean, when we started this thing off, we said they would go 2-1, right? But after watching these guys over the last 3 weeks, these guys are ready to play football. Listen, if you did not play this game, you know, Harbaugh is saying, who has it better than we do? If you didn't enjoy this game, you're not a fan of football, because nobody had it better than a football fan on this Sunday watching this game. The Chargers, the Broncos, it was a absolute juggernaut match. Defense is going back and forth, offensive going back and forth, special teams going back and forth with some mishaps. But listen, if you did not enjoy this game, you are not a fan of football, because this was one of the most enjoyable games of football that I've watched in a very long time. Congratulations to the Chargers. This is amazing. This was an absolute amazing, fun, entertaining game. This did it for me. This made my Sunday.
David, what was the look on your face? I'm sure it was completely different than when you saw Najee Harris go down, but what was the look on your face on that completion from Herbert to Keenan Allen for the touchdown? That was one of the most exciting plays I've seen in a long time.
I was just screaming. I mean, that was my first reaction. I was like, wow, what a play. But the second thing that came to my mind is that's an MVP type play right there. That's Justin Herbert putting it all together with pressure in his face, escaping, rolling out, throwing on the run, like basically behind him, and throwing it on a absolute rope to Keenan Allen, who was also very well covered in the end zone, and still came down with that touchdown. I mean, that was absolutely remarkable. And I was telling you guys before we started recording, this game right here, the Chargers lose this game 100% of the time before Jim Harbaugh shows up. There is absolutely no question about it. His leadership, his ability to put the Chargers in great positions to go out there and make adjustments and go do what they need to do to go put themselves in position to win a game, and then have a kicker like Dicker, who is automatic, one of the most accurate kickers in NFL history. Actually, he is the most accurate kicker in NFL history with anyone with 100 attempts, and he puts it right through the uprights for a massive AFC West win.
And Harbaugh just on point with his halftime discussion with the reporter. This is how I take notes now, because it's just mind-boggling how his ability to say nothing. And she asked a good question. Lots of pressure from the Broncos getting after Herbert. What do you need to do? Both sides of the ball, lots of effort, got to keep playing. That's not anything close to what she asked. And I was just like, it's remarkable how he can just say nothing. And you know, what's funny, I did an interview in Denver this morning talking about the Chargers, and they asked me something about the Denver defense, which I had no clue. So I kind of took a page out of his book and I answered something about the defense being good and then turned it right back on the Chargers. I was like, the Chargers need to do this. I don't care what the Broncos do. It's tough, but sometimes it's very useful. And I'm always amazed at his ability to say nothing and sound completely like a moron at that point in time coming out of the locker room. 23-20. I don't know about you guys, but I was scared the way the third quarter started, especially the way J.K. Dobbins was running the ball, those two big runs, and the way he stiff-armed Deion.
I mean, it was even before that, Pete.
Yeah, you got to go back right before half.
Was it?
It was even before that. I mean, it was the last drive before the halftime where they had that busted coverage. That's where it all started to kind of unravel.
Yeah, but J.K. Dobbins, obviously we're familiar with him. Had -7 yards in the first half, but those two runs in the second half and the way he dispatched Deion Henley. We don't see that very often. Deion Henley, not what we're used to from him, but got it into the end zone. Then it was 14-10. And then Darius Davis and Kenyon, I want to talk to you about Darius Davis because I thought he had a good game aside from that fumble on the kickoff. And look, I don't know if you can blame him for that. The guy got his hand in there and knocked it free, led to a field goal. And then the Chargers needed a drive and they didn't quite get it right away, but they did get it. And a lot of it had to do with OMARION HAMPTON's running the ball. What did you think of his performance today? I thought he was fantastic, and both on the ground and in the air.
Going back to Darius before we get to OMARION, tried to cover it, tried to tuck it. It's just an excellent play by the guy on special teams. That's one of them plays you just got to nod your head to. Can't put it on anybody else because you coughed it up. But Darius was having a solid game, but one bad play can completely eliminate anything you've done before that and after that will be the focus. But luckily we got the win, so it's a much easier play now to swallow when you're in the meeting room where you're going and watching a film. Hey, we can't have that. Where if it's a loss, it's a completely different conversation. But getting to OMARION HAMPTON, the guy's an absolute beast. He was drafted where he was drafted for a reason. You don't go that high, you don't go that early without being a guy, and he's a guy. It's unfortunate to see what happened to Najee Harris. You never want to see that, and you hope he can come back and be half of what he was. Those Achilles injuries are nothing to play with, and it was clear, it was evident. This isn't like Khalil's injury where we don't want to, speculate. It's clear. We see it. It's there. But OMARION HAMPTON had a phenomenal game. There's a couple things that I need him to clear up because there's certain things that you just don't want to put on film, and that's in pass protection, where it didn't look as good as it should. And once you start to show those things on film, now blitzes start to come at you more. Now teams start to rush you to keep you in. They're going to test you. So outside of the pass protection mishaps, he had a phenomenal game. Put the running back group on his grab and went out there and performed.
Yeah, 19 carries, 70 yards. For me, David, I like to see him catching the ball too. I mean, I felt like he was their offense today for a good 3/4 of this game, right? I mean, the receivers really didn't get involved until the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I was hoping that they were going to run the ball even more. I thought that they kind of took a little bit too long to be able to put the ball in the running back's hands because early on the Broncos were playing a lot of coverage. They were dropping 6-7 guys in coverage and really kind of daring the Chargers to throw the ball, which, I mean, that's what they've done to start the season, so it's not that big of a surprise. They made the adjustments to give more carries, but it was a little too late. I feel like it should have happened a little bit sooner than that because, hey, before the injury, Najee was starting to cook. He was really starting to rip off 4, 5, 6, 7 yard physical, violent type runs. And I think OMARION HAMPTON was also, starting to warm up as well. And he had a great game. I mean, including what he did on the ground with the 70 yards. He also had 59 yards through the air as well with a long of 22, which, was that nice play towards the right, down the right sideline. He had a great game. I think this was one of his kind of breakout games, one of his welcome to the NFL type games, and he better be ready because he's going to be the go-to guy, the number one guy going forward, because they're going to have to shuffle that running back room behind him.
And Pete, this is something that we talked about, that we've continued to talk about. we have to get the back more involved. We were all, it's all great when it's going well in the passing game, right? But when you need the running game, do you have it? Is it available? Can the guys get it done? You don't know until you do it. So that for them to be able to do that, flip that switch, give the ball to Omarion and have him do what he did. But not only that, we talk about the running backs being used in the pass game all the time. The guy is a player. He's a playmaker. So I'm ecstatic to see it because we have not seen the Chargers utilize a back in the pass game going back to last season. So to finally see it, I hope they continue to do it more because it's an added incentive. It's an added art of work for the offense.
Yeah, absolutely. He finished
and it helps slow down the pass rush too. I think that's important to note. It helps slow down the pass rush too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a fantastic game from him, player of the game to be sure. He had 6 catches for 59 yards. And, late in the third quarter, Keenan Allen had 3 catches. He finished with 7. So they started ramping it up. Quentin Johnston, another fantastic game, 6 for 89 yards. And Rondé Gadsden, he was so clutch, wasn't he? Oh my God.
Boy.
Like, big time catches in his first professional game or first regular season game. So yeah, he showed up, and what a way to start your career. 5 catches, 46 yards, and seemingly they were all tough catches. He had DBs draped on his back and just making like big time catches. Really, really surprising. That was nice to see. Did that surprise you, David?
No, it didn't. I mean, honestly, I was pounding the table for Rondé Gadsden to get his opportunities, especially against this Denver secondary where they had some injuries in the middle at the linebacker position, and also just the guys they had out there. We were doing the stats and stuff before the game. They are very bad in coverage. And so I thought there was going to be an opportunity for them to look over the middle of the field and take advantage of a guy who has some more pass catching prowess, especially when you knew that Will Dissly was going to be down this game. It was kind of a foregone conclusion that Tucker Fisk was going to step up and be that type of blocking tight end. But I feel like Rondé had some juice, and I think he was a guy that when he was able to get out there on the field, he was able to show it. This guy's got good hands, he's got good speed, and he's a second-generation NFL player, as his dad played in the NFL as well, and it shows. I mean, he got his opportunity, was inactive the first 2 games, and he made the most of it here. I have a feeling he's probably going to be active a few more games here this season.
And to note that he didn't just do this in the first quarter. He didn't do this in the second quarter. The guy showed up in the clutch. So for this to be your first regular season NFL game against a divisional opponent in this type of game, the magnitude that this game carries and be able to perform that says a lot about this kid. And that will go speak volumes amongst them coaches, the GMs. When you get into these meetings, I think we'll see a lot more of this because he's reliable. And again, to do that in your first game in this type of game, it's hats off to that kid.
Yeah, and the Denver D was no joke.
Absolutely not.
You're right; they're not great in coverage, but in the red zone, holy cow! That was the 11 when they stopped the Chargers in the red zone and they forced a field goal. That was their 11th defense of the red zone this season, and they've only allowed 3 touchdowns. So they got all sorts of pressure on the quarterback. Their hands are crazy, knocking balls down. The suffocating defense. I mean, it's no joke. It's exactly what we heard about. And the fact is that this game was heavily dependent on the defense on both sides of the ball. I thought the pressure on both quarterbacks was immense, and they both dealt with it very well. I mean, if the Chargers lost this game, David, I know you said, a few years back they would have lost it 100% of the time, but if they lost this game today, do you feel like they gave it away or they were just beaten? Because to me, it felt like, they weren't perfect, but look, the Broncos deserved this game as much as the Chargers did. I thought it was a fantastic performance on both sides.
Yeah, this was a old school knockdown, drag out AFC West fight. I mean, these are 2 teams that clearly know each other extremely well, and it was a defensive battle. I mean, you look at the stats. I mean, on both sides, offensively, I mean, there's some decent rushing numbers on the Denver side, but Bo Nix only threw for 153 yards. I mean, the Chargers blanketed them like all day long, and the Denver Broncos pass rush was ferocious. They were in Justin Herbert's face for most of this game until they started to utilize that kind of quick passing game and get the ball out of Justin Herbert's hands quickly to be able to kind of keep things moving. They were in his face a lot, and I think for Justin Herbert to be able to withstand that, to be able to show up in the clutch and in the most important moments, put together 2 drives back to back, score and 2 back-to-back scoring drives, speaks volumes to him, speaks volumes to how well this football team is coached. And you're right. Absolutely, both teams deserve to win this one, but the team that executed in the final moments the best is the team that won this game, and that was the Chargers.
Kenyon, after the break, I want to talk to you about the secondary, the DBs. We've talked about it a lot this season, and that was the one thing going into the game against the Raiders that most people wanted to get better and improve. I want to look at today's performance and get your thoughts on whether or not I don't think they matched up to the way they played against the Raiders, but there were definite lapses today, and we're going to talk about that after the break. It's the Locked On Chargers Squad Show on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel. Pete Fox, David Drogemeyer, and Kenyon Barner will be right back. Today's episode of the Locked On Chargers Squad Show is brought to you by Prize Picks, the daily fantasy sports app where making the right call can actually pay off. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right with your decisions is cashing in money, and that's a good feeling. With football back, Prize Picks is the simplest and fastest way to get in on the action. You just pick more or less on 2 to 6 projections, and you can turn your takes into real prizes all in less than 60 seconds. And with the Chargers playing the way that they are, and the fact that the things are going well for them, you feel like as a Charger fan, you got a good one on your hands here, and you're confident about where things are going for them. So don't let that opportunity pass you by, that they're taking advantage of things, and hopefully that would pay off for you. Download the Prize Picks app today and use the code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 on lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's Locked On NFL for $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. All right, 23-20. Dicker the kicker, a 43-yard walk-off field goal to win it today. There were a couple of lapses in that secondary where Sutton were they both on 4th down? I know one of them was. Sutton had a deep completion, got past Terheeb still, and there was another one earlier where he got free, and
there was a few.
Alohi Gilman was nowhere close. I don't know if that was coverage breakdown or what, but of course the play-by-play guys chalked it up to a nice route. To me, it's like, how do you let that guy run past you and not stay with him that far into the red zone? So yeah, they played well, but there were still lapses, Kenyon.
And absolutely, they played well, but here's the thing. There were maybe 4 balls, right, that could have changed the outcome of this game. You had the 2 passes to Mims where Nix missed them, where he got behind the defense and was wide open. The pass to Sutton, the pass to Sutton where he was open and Nix missed him. And you asked about the blown coverage. Anytime a guy is that wide open, there's a blown coverage. There's some sort of miscommunication. There's some sort of breakdown between safety, corner, safety, back. There's something that did not get communicated effectively. So we come out with a win, right? But there's still a lot that we have to correct. And that's a good thing, because anytime you can make these type of mistakes and still win a football game, that's saying something. So to be able to, again, tell the truth Tuesdays, it looks a heck of a lot different when you win a game versus when you lose a game. So to have these lapses and these bad plays pop up, now we can go into the meeting room. It's a little bit different conversation. It's a little bit lighter. But now we still know that we have things that we have to clean up. We're as good as we are, we can be a heck of a lot better.
Yeah, David, they were both on 4th and 2 and 4th and 1 to Sutton. Gilman got burned on run, looked the wrong way, and Sutton just ran past him wide open. And then the other one, 4th and 1. So that to me is like, fortunately, it wasn't Gilman both times. Still got burned once there too. But yeah, those kind of things, got to clean that up.
It's really frustrating. You play really, really good defense on 3 downs, and then you get to 4th down and 4th and short, And then you give up not just a conversion, but an explosive play both times. It's just something you can't have. You have to erase those type of plays. If those type of plays continue to happen against the good teams, they're going to hurt you. I mean, you're not going to have the Bo Nixes of the world that are missing 3 or 4 deep passes. You're going to have guys that are going to be throwing those and completing them, and the score is going to look a whole lot different than it did. So yes, I am very much on Team Kenyon here. Learn from your mistakes in victory, and hopefully you correct them so you can continue winning on Sundays.
KB, do you think they were keying on the run just a little bit too much? It felt like that to me on the first one. Like it was like, uh-oh, they were crashing down on because they went play action on that first one, and they were like, yeah. And I
won't go there. Sometimes you have bad eyes. Sometimes your eyes aren't where they're supposed to be. And I think that was the case here because, I mean, they weren't running the ball that effectively until later on into the game, until the second half. So it's not like we had to really pay that much attention to JK in this run game because that just wasn't the case. That front four, that front seven was doing a great job handling Derwin Davis coming down into the box plan. We were handling the run game. I think it's just a case of bad eyes, bad technique, and just getting beat. I think it's just that point, that simple.
Good job with the penalties today. 3 for 25, and the Broncos just gift wrapped a bunch of drives, or at least a couple. 10 for 90, and one of them was late there in the game. So I feel like Chargers did a nice job. They come away from this one feeling good about the way they performed without giving up a lot of penalties. David, is your mic muted? It looks like it on my end. Did I do that? Or there, you're back. Okay, cool. Yeah. Do you was this a focal point for them to be cleaner with the penalties today?
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, when you're in these games against these division opponents, you have to make sure you minimize the errors and the mistakes because it's going to be close. It's going to be physical football. And so you don't want to gift wrap your opponent any extra yards or extra opportunities. The Denver Broncos did that a lot for the Chargers. I mean, they gave them multiple first downs and continued their drives on several different occasions. And when you do that, you have to make sure that you make it hurt. And fortunately for the Chargers, they were able to take some of those, extend those drives, and win the football game because of it. So anytime you can limit the mistakes, you're going to put yourselves in position to be able to play quality football and pick up big wins like this one.
Here's to your point.
Let me tell you something right quick. You asked about, was this a focal point, right? Let me tell you how every pregame speech goes in the NFL. I was on 7 teams in 10 years, okay?
Yeah.
So I heard a lot of them. They're going to tell you that this is our keys to win. Run the ball, stop the run, eliminate penalties. In some form, some fashion, those are going to be your keys.
Those 3 keys are getting hit every time.
Every single week by 32 NFL coaches throughout the league. That is going to be the pregame speech. That's how we're going to win, the guys. We're going to eliminate penalties, stop the run, and run the ball, control the line of scrimmage, and we get out of here with a win every week.
Well, the other is how often is the turnover battle in there? Because when they asked me about it today, coming in Denver, I was like, you got to win the turnover battle. It's very rare that you lose the turnover battle, especially 2-0 and win the game. So that's very a huge feather in their cap as well, right?
Absolutely. They talk about turnovers. So again, it's not too often, like you said, to win a football game and you're losing the turnover margin. So again, for them to be able to come out on top of this, there's a lot to build on top of. There's a lot to go back and look at the film. Hey, okay, we won this game, but we were not perfect. We weren't anything close to it. So let's be happy we won and got away with the mistakes and the things that we did. But let's lock in, let's refocus, and let's get this ball rolling the right way.
That's exactly what Andrew Herrera said. Oh yeah. It was not a perfect game, but I'll still take the win.
You're darn right you will. We all will.
That's what separates good teams from great teams, right? Winning these type of games, without a doubt.
You're right.
Absolutely huge that this team could come away with a win in this game, but it was like they never let him get out of reach. That was another thing that I thought was really fantastic. And it's so strange. As you guys know, I covered the Trojans as well. And it's happened last year. It's happening this year. These teams parallel each other strangely, and the fact of the matter is happened yesterday to the Trojans. where Michigan State had a turnover. They came down and scored. Guess what the Trojans did? They turned right around and drove the ball back down and scored. And that was the turning point of the game, like where the Spartans didn't get any closer. I felt like the Chargers did the same thing today after that turnover that turned into a touchdown. They didn't score a touchdown, but they scored a field goal to stop the bleeding and get back on track. And that's huge when you don't let them get out of reach. You got to keep them within reach. And they did that. Here's another number that is mind-boggling. First downs, 29-9. Is that on the Broncos just being sloppy, or is that on the Chargers defense, KB?
That's a combination of both. You got to give credit where credit is due. It's that's an ugly stat. That's ugly. That's a crazy stat. 9-29 is absolutely. But listen, these defenses played out of their minds today. The Chargers defense showed up. They played a great game again, and this was a collective game. It wasn't just one guy doing it or two guys here. This was a collective win for the Chargers, both statistically and in the win column.
All right, let's take a quick break here because I have a good question coming up that we're going to talk about with the offensive line. McWilliam SDA did all give up a sack today. I guess you weren't watching closely, but yeah, we'll get into that and the whole offensive line play. It's the Locked On Chargers squad show on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel. Kenyon Barner, 10 years in the league. Dave Drogemeyer, half of the Locked On Chargers podcast, and I am Pete Fox. We'll be right back. All right, hold on. Go away. This episode brought to you by Mazda's moving the game forward. For those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it. There are moments that do more than put points on the board. They move crowds, they move culture, and they keep moving the game forward. Today, the guy moving the game forward for me was OMARION HAMPTON. He did a little bit of everything. Caught the ball, ran the ball, had a touchdown, blocked for Herbert. Everything that he did today was positive, and he was absolutely moving the game forward. When you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning, and that's just like it is with Mazda. There's more to every highlight. There's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. All right, the Locked On Chargers squad show. We come on right after the game every game and break it down for you. Of course, David and Daniel still do their thing Monday through Friday. We missed you guys last Monday because that game ended at midnight or something crazy like that, at least for you in the central time zone there, David. So we didn't have one of you guys on last week, but we're glad you're here this week for a 23-20 win as the Chargers stay unbeaten. Another sore thumb in this game for me was the offensive line. Now, I'm not putting it on anybody, but the fact is guys got banged up and they were playing with the second string, and Salyer got tossed around like a rag doll at least once. I mean, that would be like if I was trying to block one of those guys. It was just like, get out of my way. And there were a couple of times where the line just didn't hold up. And one of them was Joe Alt got pushed right back into the quarterback and got sacked. Let's hope that the injury to Becton. Yeah. They said it was a head injury, right? So
concussion protocol. Yeah.
So that could be more than one game or more than just this week. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, they were, in spite of being, shorthanded, I thought they acquitted themselves pretty well. And a lot of that had to do with give Herbert just enough time and he'll find a way. And so you got to put a lot of this on his back and say, nice job, because he was playing with the shorthanded line. And that is another feather in their cap. Like, way to go. Congratulations. You guys were banged up, a lot of second stringers in there, and still got it done. David.
Yeah, I think, for the majority of this game, there's a lot of pressure in Justin Herbert's face. And the Broncos sacked Justin 5 times for 30 yards of loss. And yes, Joe Alt did give up a pretty bad sack in this one, but the dude's been almost unstoppable and been a brick wall for the better part of 2 games. And, hey, the Broncos had one of the highest pressure rates and one of the highest blitz rates in the NFL going into this game. So you knew that they were going to heat up and send pressure at Justin. And I think schematically, they made adjustments late in the game where they were able to get the ball out of Justin's hands quickly. They ran the ball a little bit better, a little bit more efficiently, and they were able to keep that pass rush at bay and allowed them to be able to sit back a little bit to allow Justin to be able to make some key throws. And so that's what it looks like when you make in-game adjustments. That's good coaching right there. That's what that looks like right there. So hats off to the offensive coaching staff to understand that what they were doing wasn't working and they had to make adjustments. They made them just in time.
With Pete and David, I say this all the time. I tell my friends, I tell anybody, I'd rather lie for you before I lie to you. And one thing we can't do is just simply put it on the guys that came in for the guys that got injured, because listen, it was party on 10th Avenue from the start of this game. Them guys were in the backfield in Herbert's face from the jump, whether it was Becton, whether it was Alt, whether it was who, it didn't matter. This defensive front, they brought pressure. I've never seen a team apply as much pressure and blitz as the Broncos did today. That blew my mind. I said, okay, this was done with intent. This was something that they wanted to do. So it wasn't just on the backups coming in. This was just a defense that was going to apply pressure to whoever was in that offensive line. This was a struggle for the entire offensive line from the start.
And isn't that what we heard about them coming in? I mean, like this defense was no joke. I mean, I don't know if you were part of it, David, but when Kenyon and Jim and I were doing the weekday show, we were getting ready for this game, talking about the Broncos defense, and all the Charger fans were mad at us because we were like, look, this defense is good. They're for real. And everyone's like, well, go be a Broncos fan then. Why don't you go move to Denver? You know, look, we're calling it like we see it. They're a good defense, right? And they showed it today. So this is tough for Denver fans to play that way on defense and lose this game with the penalties and the missed opportunities and so forth. But hey, that's football, right? The other one that I forgot late in the game, I don't think it's that big of a deal, but Trey Pipkins got poked in the eye, and that's never fun or easy to deal with. But hopefully that's not long lasting. But the pressure was immense. Fortunately, the Chargers defensive line was giving the same pressure back. But when you look at this game as a whole, KB, from a defensive perspective, after what we saw last week from guys that we expect to be good week after week, and the two that to me were, I'm not saying they were bad. Do not get me wrong. Do not misconstrue my words. I'm not saying these guys were bad, but Deion Henley and Denzel Perryman were not what we saw from them last week. Is that just, hey,
you mean Troy Dye? You mean Troy Dye?
Yeah.
Yeah. Denzel's on IR.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Right. Thank you. So, right. Dye. Yeah. But I'm sorry. What did I say?
You said Denzel Perryman and Deion Henley.
Derwin James. I know he led them in tackles, but at times he wasn't great. But Dye's another one that is not as great didn't play as great as he did last week. Deion Henley was probably the one. I'm not saying he was bad, but it wasn't what we expect from him and what he has been giving us the first 2 weeks of this season. So is that just, hey, you had an off game, the opposition made life tough on him, or does he have to kind of get back on track a little bit?
I mean, anytime there's a drop off in play, right? Anytime no 2 weeks are going to look the same. No 2 games are going to look the same. But we know what we're going to get from. We know what we get from Henley. We know what he's going to do week in and week out. If we go back to last season, this dude led this team in tackles, I want to say almost every single game, right? Was an absolute standout, was an absolute stud, and he is that now. So every game will be different. Some games will be your best. Some days it won't be. That's just the game of football. When it comes to Derwin James, I don't care what he does. That's Derwin James.
Also Derwin James had 4 tackles for loss in this game. Yeah. So I'm sorry, I'm not going to agree with you on Derwin James. Derwin James was all over the place, and he was wrecking people as a blitzer. And for Deion, I think we need to remember, Deion was questionable going into this game because he was still dealing with the same illness that he was dealing with the previous week, where he had that flu game. He was questionable going into this game. So just some context.
It's hard to say. It's hard to say that Derwin James was not great when he leads the team in tackles and 10 solos, 4 TFLs. So my bad. I saw a couple of bad ones, and those were the ones I made note of. But again, no one's perfect. This is a very hard game, and especially against a very, very good Bronco team. So yeah, absolutely. He is a complete and utter stud and can play anywhere. Just like Pete Carroll said last week. What position does he play? Because he plays everywhere. And
That's right.
again, today he was doing that. But I for whatever reason happened to notice one or two bad plays. Tui Apoloto also at times wasn't kind of as good as we've seen him of late. But all in all, the defense showed up. I thought St. Just on the corner had a couple of huge plays to play well. Past defenses, breaking up passes there. That was really fantastic. And we haven't seen a lot from him like that, where we notated. I mean, he's been playing very well, but to see him show up and break up plays like that, kind of highlighted under the spotlight, it was nice to see, and he played well. Dante Jackson, though, almost got burned again. Were we going, oh no, not another deep one against Dante Jackson, but he ultimately it didn't hurt us and didn't hurt him either there. But on the corners, I would say all in all, good, but still can be better. Wouldn't you agree with that?
I would say there's one person I'd like to highlight just really quickly. It's Tarheeb Still. I think Tarheeb Still made a couple of fantastic open field tackles that were the difference between, getting a third down conversion and getting off the football field. I think it's something that's been a point of emphasis clearly for him in his second year. I mean, we saw the ball skills on full display last year, and this year we saw now that he's correcting one of his biggest flaws of last year, which was the open field tackling. He again showcased that just growth in his game. And if that continues, he's going to continue to be, for me, one of the guys that's going to establish himself as one of the better young corners in the league.
Yeah, David, you got to go back to last week as well, because he was one of the guys that I highlighted after that game, a guy that was making his presence felt in every facet of defense, whether it was in coverage, whether it was coming down and making tackles. You don't see corners tackle the way that he is coming up and making. You just don't see that anymore. As I play with a bunch of guys, I won't call them by name, but you expect them to come up and make a tackle, and they'll look at you and say, "I don't get paid to tackle."
We've seen that too. Yeah, we've seen.
You know what I'm saying? So you're laughing, but I'm serious as a heart attack on Christmas Day. Guys will literally tell you, "I don't get paid to tackle. I get paid to cover." No, you play defense. You get paid to do it all. Cover, tackle, everything that comes with defense. That's what you get paid to do. And so that's what we're starting to see from this young dude coming up. Really, I judge a defense by its secondary, right? You expect the defensive line to be what they are. You expect linebackers and safeties. But do your corners come up and play the game of football like it's supposed to be played, or are we waiting on help to come and somebody come make the tackle for us? We waiting for somebody to put a cape on and save us? No. When you look at this cat and the way that he's playing with like somebody with a chip on his shoulder and something to prove. So, yeah, absolutely. Shout out to him. And I hope he continues to grow and keep continually do what he's doing.
Jay Spriggs, you're absolutely right. I was an idiot there. I'll take it. I'll own it. Every day we do these shows, someone's got to be the idiot. It's usually me. And today, I'll put the dunce cap on. You're right. Derwin James was all over the place. My bad.
12,
he made one or two bad plays, and I just happened to notice those one or two missed plays. That's all. You're right. Total stud. 10 tackles outweighs one or two bad plays. I'm an idiot. That's fine. It's not the first time or the last. The Chargers come away with a 23-20 win. One of the other things that we've talked about it a little. I think we should talk about it some more. Justin Herbert's ability today, with the line being a little bit injured and banged up, to scramble out of pressure and find guys was fantastic. He had a big play there where he scrambled, stepped up in the zone, and found Quentin Johnston like on the 2 or 3 yard line. I think the pass was deflected. Johnston bobbled the ball, reeled it in, got to the 2 yard line, and set up the touchdown. That's the kind of thing, as you said, David, kind of puts him in the conversation for MVP status this early on. I know it's early, but he is playing just out of his mind. It's kind of a different level for him. I mean, the number's not great, 28 of 47, but 300 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Good numbers, not great, especially from a completion percentage. But a lot of that is on the fact that the Denver defense is for real. But his awareness of what's going on the field, and the fact that it's slowed down for him based on the fact that he's just more comfortable with the offense of Greg Roman, etc., is really, really nice to see.
Justin Herbert right now is showing that he is one of the elite quarterbacks in the league, and he's doing that by showing up and providing his best when his best is required. That's at the end of the games where the difference between the good quarterbacks and the elite quarterbacks are the elite quarterbacks go out there, they drive down the field, they get in the end zone, they score, they put their team in position to go win a game. Yet again, the Chargers put themselves, Justin Herbert put the Chargers in position to be able to roll the clock all the way down, put themselves in an ideal position for their kicker to step up, sweep that beautiful leg, and put it right through the uprights. That's what elite quarterbacks do. And he showed that with immense pressure in his face, that he was going to be able to escape, he's going to be able to create time and be able to throw on the run, do all of the things that elite quarterbacks do. This is another signature win for Justin Herbert. And yes, if he continues to beat the good teams in the league, he absolutely has to be in the MVP conversation.
I was on a plane coming back from Oregon this morning. Shout out to my Ducks. Great win versus the Beavers out there. Civil War rivalry game, we call it now. Shout out to my Ducks. But I was talking to some guys that were actually flying down to come to the Chargers game. We were talking about Herbert, and they were asking me about him. And I said, this is the best version of Herbert that we've seen probably since his rookie year. Because when he came out the gate, his opening year, he had, I was in Tampa Bay at the time. He had defenses absolutely scared, ours included. Like, this dude is absolutely.
About to say, his rookie year, I think he threw 2 bombs against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Absolutely,
in that season.
Literally, when you heard defensive players talking about Herbert his rookie year, you would have thought he had been in the league for 10 years. So to see this, we have not seen this version of Justin Herbert. This version that is calm, this version that is so patient and still when it's chaotic all around him. A guy that comes out is taking what they're given. We have not seen this Justin Herbert, and he is playing at an elite level, at a high level. And if the season were to end today, Herbert would have to be my MVP.
They asked me in Denver today if he was elite, and I said, well, he's been elite. He's been elite his whole career.
That's why
How you feeling now, huh? Is he elite? Huh?
Yeah,
of course he is. Come on, stop with that nonsense.
I mean,
what Shaq say? How my behind taste?
Yeah, exactly.
His skill level is elite, but the difference now is that he's turning his skill level into productivity, and that is wins. So it kind of felt at times like unrealized expectations so far with him. You know, when you're saying that win 2 weeks ago in Rio de Janeiro was the biggest of his career. We had that conversation, David, with Daniel, and he was like, you could definitely argue that it's the biggest of his career because he hasn't had any playoff success. So the fact is that was a meaningful game. And so anyway, look, it's all going in the right direction, and it feels like it's just a different level of confidence and calm as it's all just slowing down a little bit for him, which is really nice to see. All right, final break. We always talk about special teams in the final segment for our friend and our man KB, who wants to break it down. And Darius Davis, there's some stuff to talk about there. So we'll do that after this. It's the Locked On Chargers Squad Show on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. All right, today's episode also brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready to enjoy all of the games with this can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the FanDuel app. And that is, playing with free money, house money is the best way to do it. So if you're ready to play and you feel that you have some confident takes and some confident picks about your team, download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bets. Chargers with a 23-20 walk-off win from Dicker the kicker, who was, of course, a member of the special team unit, and 43 yarder, which is a chip shot for him. It seems like those type of field goals are what we used to think of as 35-yarders these days. It's just the kickers these days. I don't know what it is, but the 60-yarder feels pretty comfortable for them. Whereas back in the day, we were like, a 60-yarder, that's incredible. But today, 43 yards didn't seem like an issue, and it wasn't right down Main Street with that little bit of a draw. Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's too automatic. I don't know how to feel about it. I really don't, because I know how sports are. I know how professional athletes are. And at some point, it's got to level out, come back to earth a tiny little bit. I hope it doesn't. Don't get me wrong. But he's too good to be true. He is too good to be true. How do we deal with the greatness of Dicker? Just shut up and enjoy it. Enjoy it, accept it, live it, watch it, be in the moment. I go back to Justin Tuck out there in Baltimore before he started going downhill. You knew what it was. You knew when he came up to kick, you take your helmet off, you go sit on the sideline and carry on your conversation, because you just knew it was Mr. Automatic. And that's what the Chargers have a luxury that a lot of NFL teams don't have, is when this guy goes out there, takes his 3-step drop, lines up, nods his head, that ball is going through the uprights. Absolutely a luxury to have a kicker where you don't have to stress. You don't have to worry about if that ball is going in. It's not a 50-50 chance. It's a 99.9% chance that ball is going through an upright. And that is an absolute luxury to have as a Charger fan and as a Charger player.
After hitting 94 of your first 100 field goals, Pete, it's automatic. That's what that is.
That's what we call automatic.
That's an A in every single class I've ever been in. And so that means that when he's out there, he has shown through his work that he is one of the best in the league. And yes, anything for me, I think under 56, 57 yards, I have all the confidence in the world that stone cold killer with ice water in his veins is going to go trot onto that field and send that ball through the uprights.
I've just been around professional sports too long to know that at some point he's got to regress to the mean a little bit. But again, you're right. I'll just bury my head in the sand. And as we talked about before, KB, I just hope that he is better than most professional athletes in that he has this ability to just be above it and be like, whatever. I'm just going to go out there and
ice water.
Yeah, I hope that he is a guy that doesn't overthink this type of thing. I hope that he just goes out there.
Clearly he doesn't. Clearly he does not.
He doesn't. Listen, LeBron James is 50 years old and playing like he's 27, right? Every now and then there's a group of guys that come along that are just the outliers. They're different. And obviously for Dicker, the kicker, we got some time to continue to go. But the way that he's performing, the way that he's executing, that this is a guy who doesn't think twice about it. There's a guy who knows what he's capable of, believes in himself, and goes out there and gets it done each and every time.
I hope he's a guy that just really, there was a story back in the day about Jeff Kent, who played for the Dodgers for a minute. He played for the Giants for a while. He hated baseball. He didn't like baseball. He was just good at it. And I kind of hope that Dicker, the kicker, is like that. Like, I hope he just is like, you know what? I'm just good at this. I don't even like it. And, because he doesn't overthink it, right? Just go out there and do your thing. 3 for 3 today. The long of 43 for the game winner, 11 points. That's a nice day for him. But from the punt returns and the kickoffs, Darius Davis, 3 kickoff returns for 74 yards. He had a big one early, Kenyon.
Yeah.
Did you get excited about that one for 34 yards?
Listen,
that's a heck of a return, man.
You know how I feel about my guy. You know how I feel about Darius. I've been on Darius bandwagon since last season. And especially from a punt return standpoint. I love kickoff return, don't get me wrong, but it's punt return that really gets me going. But I love seeing him back there. I've said this again, when I seen Haskins back there lined up to return the kick, I said, why? That's not that. I did, David. I just don't.
No, I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. That's not the spot for him, right? You have a whole bunch of guys on your roster that are capable of going back there and doing it. I just don't see it in him. I don't like the movement.
You're giving up yards when you have him.
Yeah, I don't like the movement. I don't like the eyes. I just don't. There's nothing about it that I like, and it's not that I don't like the guy. I like him at running back, so I don't want the fans to think I'm dogging the dude.
Put Keandre Lambert-Smith out there and let him
put somebody, anybody.
Yeah. Well, here's a question from one of the viewers in the chat room. Scott, what do you think of the call to switch Ladd over and let him take punts versus Darius Davis?
I think that's twofold. I think it's the knee injury that Darius was dealing with, and also they just wanted somebody with some sure hands that's a little bit bulkier. That, if they say, hey, just get upfield, get some good yards, and get down and protect yourself, I think they feel confident that Ladd knows how to protect himself.
To that, Ladd has a unique ability of getting loose. So yes, it's all of that, David, but it's also knowing that if a crease is there, we have a guy that can go and can take the distance. So yeah, all of what you said is absolutely correct. The short hands, being smart, a heads up guy, knowing when to get down, and all of that. But also when you have a guy like Ladd with the ball in his hand is so dangerous and so electric, you have no problem putting it back there. Now, I don't like it. I'm not gonna lie.
He's too important to the offense. You don't want to see it all the time.
It's like I'll put it this way. It's like Deshaun Jackson, right? Once he got past being the return guy, he was like, hey, when we need a play to be made, let's put Deshaun Jackson back there. I'll even go to Tampa Bay when we had AB, right? And when it came to a point in time in the game, it was like, all right, KB, we're gonna let AB go back there.
Yeah, I need something here. Yeah,
you need something. Go ahead, AB, do your thing. So I like it. I just don't love it.
Here's what I want to ask you guys. We talked about this a little bit at the beginning, but from a game plan perspective, do we like what they did today? Do we feel like it fits into the entire like the logical next step? Because we saw a lot of throwing the ball, the most percentage of throws in the NFL with the first 2 weeks were the Chargers. I believe they threw the ball 74% of the time. And today we saw a much more balanced attack, and KB's been calling for that. It's got to be more balanced. Today was a more traditional game plan for them. And as I said, deep into the third quarter, they hadn't thrown the ball nearly as much as I would have liked, because to me it has felt like it has been their ticket to ride thus far. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But then they started moving the ball around. They found Ladd McConkey. They found Keenan Allen for a touchdown. Oronde Gadsden. Those guys had big catches at big moments in the game. But all in all, the game plan was more balanced. And is that did you think that was the right call? Did you like what you saw from the game plan all in all, David?
Yeah, I mean, I think with the offensive weapons, you have three guys that you want to get the football to. With Quentin Johnston, with Keenan Allen, Ladd McConkey, that's what's been working through the first couple of games. So I understand, the want to go out there and throw the football and be aggressive and keep the ball in Justin Herbert's hands. But I will say that I wish they would have ran the ball a little bit more. I mean, they ran it 28 times, but I think they could have probably ran it 30 to 35 times and had, even more success, because they were fine. They were lanes. There were opportunities to run the ball. They were getting, 4, 5, 6, 7 yards on first, second down when they're running the ball. That's what you want to do. Set yourself up in those comfortable down and distance situations. And when they were doing that, they were having more success. And when they go to play action, that defense has to respect that a little bit, and they can't come pin their ears back and just go hunt after Justin Herbert. They have to respect the threat of the running game, so it makes that passing game that much more effective. But I got to give my shout out to Quentin Johnston once again. Another big game, 6 catches, 89 yards, and a long of 37, where the defense thought they had him wrapped up. He spins off of it and rips off another 25 yards. That is a beautiful play, and I think we all need to give this kid his flowers, because in year 1, everybody was calling him a bust. In year 2, he's progressed. In year 3, he is showing himself to be one of the better receivers in football.
Yeah.
If it was up to you, Kenyon, you'd run the ball even more, right?
I would. Absolutely. David said it. A run game makes the pass game that much more effective. And when we talk about this game plan, I'm not sure that the actual game plan was to come out and run the ball the way that they ended up running the ball. I just think that's the way that the game went, right?
Yeah.
I firmly believe that it was still to rely on Herbie and let Herbie go out there and do his thing, because it had been working the previous 2 weeks. But once Here's about the thing about being a play caller in the NFL. Sometimes you have to go with the way the game is flowing, right? Yeah. And when you see something is working and it's becoming more effective, now you change the game plan. Okay, well, we could pass the ball, but our run game is actually doing something. So let's ride this horse until the wheels fall off of it. And so I think that's really what it was. OMARION Hampton showed them something throughout this game. He gave them something to believe in. It was like, okay, well, let's do it again. Oh, it worked again. Okay, well, let's give it to it again. Okay, well, let's keep giving him the ball. And he ends up with 19 carries, and we haven't seen a back with 19, almost 20 carries for God, I don't know how long. I don't even know if JK got close to that, if he had over 20 carries.
I don't think so.
Season. You know what I'm saying? So now it's about for OMARION Hampton, how does your body recover? You know, what does Monday look like? What does Tuesday look like? Can you handle that workload? So if we want them to run the ball more, OMARION has to show them that he can handle that workload, right? He has to now I need you to come back and practice hard on Tuesday and Wednesday. When it's workday Wednesday, now I need you to come back and show me that, okay, you can handle that load. And I firmly believe that he can. He has the body type for it. He has the stature. So I'm ecstatic. I love, I'm a raw B, baby. So, I'm always pulling for my guys to get the rock more. So shout out to OMARION Hampton doing his thing today.
McWilliams, DA, District Attorney, I'm assuming is what that stands for. Don't sleep on the Giants. I promise you they won't miss the long balls. I don't think anybody's sleeping on the Giants, but the question becomes, with the loss of Najee Harris, how much more do we see OMARION Hampton, and what impact or involvement will Hassan Haskins have? I mean, obviously, he's going to get the ball at least a few more times because he got it 0 times today. So we'll have to see more from him, I'm assuming, right?
I mean, actually, I think it's with the way Hassan Haskins runs the ball. He's a bigger type guy as well. He's a more physical running back, a guy that the Chargers really utilized on those short down distance situations a lot last year. So I think it kind of slots into be something that might be pretty comfortable because he's a guy that's going to give them some physical hard yards and a guy that has that Michigan connection, obviously being a former player of Jim Harbaugh at Michigan. There's a lot of familiarity there. There's a lot of trust that's there. So, yeah, if he's going to be able to give a couple more carries there for sure to kind of spell the rookie, and I feel like you can feel confident that he's at least going to be able to fall forward and give you some tough yards.
I believe you're going to see a heck of a lot more of OMARION Hampton, especially after today. You have to because now you don't have a Najee Harris, right? And Najee Harris, and that was your backup plan. That was your insurance plan. Not only that could have been your primary plan if things weren't going right with OMARION Hampton. So when you lose your number 2, you have to rely more heavily on your number 1. So I think we will. Don't get me wrong, Haskins or whoever because someone's going to have to come up now, right? Sure. So whoever, if it's Rocket, Rocket's on practice
Rocket's
squad.
Gone. Yeah, he's on the
gone?
Browns. Yeah, he got picked up by the
They
Browns.
claimed him?
Yeah. Yeah.
So is it Vidal?
Yeah, Vidal is on the practice squad.
So okay, that changes things. So I firmly believe that you're going to see a hell of a lot more of OMARION Hampton. That because you have nobody with his skill set no more. You just don't have it. So
they have Amar Johnson on the practice squad. Yeah, and Kamani Vidal. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, he's probably going to be Kamani. I would imagine that gets brought up.
Yeah, so you're bringing somebody.
I'm assuming we'll see more of Arondé Gadsden after the way he played today. David, what's up with Will Dissly's knee? What do you know about that?
Yeah, I don't really know a whole lot about it, unfortunately. Coach Harbaugh is very hush-hush with the injuries. I do know that Will Dissly is a very tough, very physical football player, so I don't think he's going to miss a lot of time. And also, if it was serious, they probably would have IR'd him, which they did not. So they probably believe this is going to be more of a short-term injury, which they definitely need because not only is he one of the better run-blocking tight ends in the league, he's one of the better pass-blocking tight ends in the league. And with the injuries that the Chargers have on their offensive line, with Mekhi Becton in concussion protocol, with whatever's going on with Trey Pipkins, his ankle and his eye, there's some spots there that you definitely need to shore up.
Yeah, that's the question. I think a lot of people in the chat are like, what do they do with Jamar Salyer? Because he got tossed around like a rag doll today and got beat badly. So is it kind of like, hey, buddy, you're the guy because there's nobody behind you right now, and you better ratchet it up and get ready for this next week's game. And I'm sure he will. He's professional, right?
I'm gonna tell you what Monday looks like, Pete. Monday looks like there's going to be a bunch of guys working out at that guard spot. That's what it looks like. There's going to be a bunch of there. Trust me. I promise you, based off what was put on film, I promise you there will be about 4 guards being worked out come Monday or Tuesday. And there will be some sort of signing possibly because you have to shore it up, right? That's the most important outside of your quarterback. That's the next most important part of your roster is that offensive line. And if you cannot protect Herbie, then what can this team truly do? So I promise you there are going to be some workouts happening.
We've talked about it a lot because it is a huge emphasis for this team's success. So the offensive line has to be good, has to give Herbert time to throw, and they have up till now, and that's why he's been so good throwing the ball and why he's throwing the ball so much. And it also helps with the running game without a doubt to open up holes and makes their life a whole lot easier. So yeah, there were people arguing that Jamari Salyer, and I'm not saying he shouldn't be, but there were people arguing that he should be a starter. I don't know that I've seen an offensive lineman get tossed aside like that ever. Like he was just like he got lifted off of the ground. And
they caught him. They caught him in a bad leverage situation and knocked him off his feet.
Okay.
Yeah, it happens. I mean, it was one bad play. I mean, he actually played pretty decently across the board. I would say, that one play obviously sticks in your mind because it was ugly. But I think overall he was all right. And also, like, he wasn't expecting to play, right? Like,
that's
Becton was the starter, and he has to come in cold off the bench where backups don't really, as I'm sure maybe you would know, you guys know in general, the starters get most of the reps during the week because it's game plan specific. They're trying to make sure that these guys are going out there that are going to be out there are going to be a part of that game plan and heavily a part of that practice. The backups don't get that as much. So when they get on the field, it's going to take some time to get comfortable. And that was a bad rep for sure.
I can speak directly to that. My dad always raised me with this saying, you stay ready so you don't have to get ready, because if you have to get ready, it's a chance that it's too late, right? This was 2016. I was playing Philadelphia Eagles. We were playing out of Seattle, and I'm playing behind a walking, living legend and Hall of Fame player while he's playing Darren Sproles at the return spot, right? So Darren Sproles never gets hurt. So I'm never expecting to have to go into the game unless it's late in the game. Darren Sproles gets hurt. I'm like, okay, it's my turn. So I go out there and I'm at punt return and it doesn't go well. I don't turn the ball over, but I'm just not mentally ready. I wasn't prepared. So maybe Sawyer wasn't mentally checked in, like, okay, I'm going to get an opportunity today. But that's the part of being a professional athlete. You always have to be ready. You always have to be locked in and think that your moment is coming. So if that was the case today was a learning experience from him, and hopefully he learned from it. And so as time goes on, we won't see this issue again. But you're going to get got in the NFL, Pete. The objective is not to get the objective is to do more getting than you get got. But you're going to get got. That's the bottom line. These are the top tier 1% of the world. You're going to get got. It's going to happen.
And as you guys both pointed out, look, they came away with a win. They weren't perfect. We'll take it and move on. And hopefully it's, the parts that were rusty, they'll clean them up. And hopefully Salyer comes in Monday and is like, I got to be better. Right. And like it wakes him up a little bit. Cross-Eye Time says Kenyon is a great duck. One of the best ever. One of the best after Herbert, right? Second.
Listen, we go down the list of great ducks. We got a list of them.
Mount Rushmore for sure. Mount Rushmore.
Oh yeah. All
right, guys. That's good for us. The Lockdown Chargers squad show after a 23-20 win where the Chargers stay unbeaten, tops in the AFC West. For the 3-time Super Bowl champion Kenyon Barner, David Drogemeyer, co-host of the Lockdown Chargers podcast, I am Pete Fox. We appreciate you guys for watching, for listening. We appreciate the comments, and we'll be back 1 week to do the squad show right after Giants. That game starts at 10:30 Pacific, and we'll be here to break it down. And don't forget, during the week, Kenyon and I, along with Jim Daniels, we'll do something hopefully on Tuesday, maybe Thursday, but we'll do a midweek show as well. And of course, David and Daniel Monday through Friday. So check them out. Thanks for watching. Thanks for us. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. See you later.